The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone, my name is Jillian Schaefer and I'm the Marketing Coordinator for SWK Technologies. I'd like to welcome you to our webinar, Keep Up with Increased Demand and Trade Partner Requirements with SPS Commerce Full-Service EDI Fulfillment, presented by Mike Miller of SPS Commerce. A little housekeeping before we get started. Everyone has been placed on mute to keep the background noise down. However, you can submit any questions you have throughout the webinar. To submit a question, look for the question section in your GoToWebinar. We will answer all questions at the end of the presentation. We are recording this presentation. It will be distributed tomorrow to all attendees as well as to those who registered but were not able to attend. Please take a moment at the end of the presentation to answer our 2-question survey. With that said, we appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to attend our webinar. We're here to help you get the most out of your software solutions and help you find an easier way to run your business by providing you software and industry knowledge, tools, and support whenever you need it. We've invited SPS Commerce here today because they are the industry experts on retail supply chain automation and full-service EDI fulfillment. So whether you're here doing research for a new solution or you're just here to learn, we'd like to encourage you to ask any questions throughout the webinar. Lastly, as a quick reminder, SWK is constantly sharing important updates and software tips and tricks on our social media channels. So we encourage you to follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Without further ado, I'll hand it over to Mike.
Perfect. Thank you, Jolene. Appreciate it. Hopefully everybody can hear me. I'll confirm on my end.
Yep, it looks great.
My screens. Perfect. Thank you, Jolene. Awesome. So we'll give it a few minutes. I'll make some introductions. Obviously, on my side, I'm going to talk through a couple of things in regards to our partnership history and success. Really quick, wanted to introduce myself before getting into that. Mike Miller with SPS, been with SPS for about 8.5 years now, working on our supplier sales team for the bulk of that time. That was helping our suppliers to set up EDI, automate processes within their systems and environments, and then work to trade with their different trading partners, whether 3PLs, e-commerce customers, big box brick and mortar customers. My role is to be the liaison to help them set up our solutions. And then transition to our Sage and Acumatica channel team. So working with our partner communities for both of these channels over the last 1.5 years now. So excited to speak with you all, and hopefully within this presentation here, I imagine it's going to take about 35 to 40 minutes. There's some things that are relevant to anyone and everyone. So if there's questions, here's my contact information. Feel free to follow up with me there. We'll also have some questions at the end to help with any concerns or questions that are brought up throughout the deck. Agenda, like I mentioned, I'm going to touch on a little bit of the SPS overview, who we are as a business, and then some of our partnership success, both with SWK, with Sage, and with Acumatica, as I think those are the relevant partnerships to speak through today. And then I want to touch on the challenges that we see in the market. Hopefully it's relevant to your businesses, but these are the typical things that we see happening and the types of problems that we're solving for. And through that, the types of ways that these businesses are helping to solve for these challenges is with our SPS fulfillment. So I'll touch on that as well. And our full service approach in really owning all the aspects of working with your trading partner communities. So a little bit about SPS and our background. We've now have over 33,000 paying customers to SPS today. We have the largest EDI network in the industry that has been built out to now over 80,000 businesses. So trading partners that began with retail really. So big retailers 20 years ago, like Orchard Supply and Canadian Tire, and some of these businesses that began working with their many suppliers needed a way to be able to transact documents very quickly and easily to automate their supply chain and improve processes for consumers that are buying everybody's products. So SPS began those relationships back then and built out that network to now where we have that 33,000 customers. We have over 1,800 employees. About 1,400 of those employees are out of Minneapolis, Minnesota here, as myself included. And then we've got about 400 employees across the globe. So some in Parsippany, New Jersey, some in UK, some in Beijing, Hong Kong, and then 2 offices in Australia. We've had over 77 quarters of growth consecutively, which is pretty unheard of in technology in particular. Reasons for the challenges that come up with the economy back in 2008 with the crash, with what we've been seeing now over the last several months. SPS has been consistently growing because of the way that we work with suppliers, as well as with the trading partners they do business with 3PLs, the different types of ways that companies need to adjust to way consumers buy products. SPS has really put our stake in the ground as the business that's flexible to grow with you guys. We're publicly traded, obviously, and feel free to check us out there on the NASDAQ. And then really where we stand out is that we're the only full service EDI provider. What that means is we'll provide you the technology, and I'll touch on that, but even more so, SPS is going to take on a lot of that heavy lifting and responsibility, and providing to your teams as an offering going forward. So SPS and SWK have been partnered together for the last 15 years, going to market, doing business, mostly in the Sage channel, working with our customers, partners, businesses that are looking to solve and automate business transactions. We're very, very knowledgeable with the SWK teams. They're very, very knowledgeable with our teams. I would consider them, and SPS would consider them, our biggest partner. Working with Sage, working with Acumatica, helping to solve these business challenges together. We're a very cohesive team and really approach that together when challenges do come up to solve for a specific company. Last August, SPS actually acquired Mapadoc from SWK. So prior to that, Mapadoc was an SWK solution. SPS acquired Mapadoc from the SWK team back in August, as well as their resources, and individuals are now all under the SPS roof. The benefit for businesses now is that everything being under one roof means all the implementation teams are assigned under one specific department. All the support is assigned under one specific department. And then engaging with your customer base, it's just a lot more cohesive going forward. We've been working in the space for Sage 100, Sage 500, X3, and Acumatica. Mapadoc has been the solution fully embedded in all of those specific systems and environments. And we've done over 600 successful implementations. We've got a dedicated team that's responsible for setting up projects, supporting your business, as well as a team that's there developing to any of the new changes from Sage or from Acumatica or the specific ERP that your teams are running. And then really all that end-to-end testing now is done under one umbrella, like I mentioned. All the technology, all the teams are now working with under SPS. Looking at our experience with Sage, we've been working with Sage for over 20 years and now have over 4,500 customers. Sage certified. SPS is the endorsed EDI solution for Sage 100, 500, and X3. We process over 50,000 daily documents, and that's done across all the different types of customers that we business with. Touching on the Acumatica side, so SPS has over 100 customers today built out. I think what's unique about the Acumatica environment is SPS has 100% retention. So if, let's say, there's scenarios where businesses are evaluating different types of technology, SPS has both Sage as well as Acumatica to be able to support and make that transition cohesive and easy. We've got over 1,000 different trading partner connections, 6 years of partnership, and what's unique about that relationship with Acumatica is 6 years ago, we began that relationship by building out directly into their environment. And that has now proved out really well with how we really lead the market for Acumatica. We're certified in any new versions, both for Sage and for Acumatica, and then being natively built inside the environment. We've been named the ISV Partner of the Year the last 2 years. So of all 200 technology partners and providers for Acumatica, SPS has been named #1 over the last 2 years and leading the market. And the reason for that, why SPS is seen as the premier option for EDI for both Sage and for Acumatica, is that we provide the solution directly inside the system, like I've referenced, and then also providing that full service solution where we take ownership of all the pieces of engagement, and then rolling out any new technology. All that is set up within your specific system that you're running today. So what I want to touch on now is how we think about EDI. Across our 33,000 customers, we really see them fall into 4 different types of buckets. It ranges, I'd say, about 20,000 of these businesses roughly are in this category where they're new to EDI, they've never heard of it, and maybe taking a step back. If you're unfamiliar with what EDI is or where it comes from, it really was meant to just be a means of communication from a computer talking to another company's computer. It was meant to be a standard, but over the years, it has really not been a standard. For anyone who's familiar with EDI, you'll definitely know what I mean. EDI has now become more complex. So let's say in that first scenario, you're a business that just got started with Target, for example. You just landed them as a new business partner, and now they're asking you to trade EDI. We have solutions that set up businesses very quickly and easily within 24 to 48 hours to be compliant and trade EDI quickly and say yes to new business. As they grow, or as your business grows, you might add new trading partners. Let's say you're adding Walmart or adding Amazon Marketplace or adding these different business partners. It becomes more complex because each new partner does EDI or business a little bit different than the next. Now, as you grow your business, you're looking to fulfill your orders in different locations throughout the country. So you leverage a 3PL, a third-party logistics provider that's shipping on your behalf, now has their own requirements in order to trade transactions with you and with your trading partners. That creates more complexity especially as you grow and add more trading partners into the mix. SPS has been providing solutions for those types of scenarios for many years. And then looking at, let's say, replatforming. If you're evaluating replatforming to a new environment, changing from one ERP to another, these types of scenarios create complexity too, because there are trading partner setups and configurations that are built into your environment that need to be ripped up and replaced into that new environment. SPS has been doing this for many years. We've got a tried and true practice and best practice to make that change very seamless without disrupting your business partner's transaction flow. So across those different types of scenarios, doesn't matter which one it might be, what is the same is that every trading partner does things a little bit different. So here we've got a couple of examples like Kroger and 7-Eleven, but you could put XYZ customer or trading partner, Amazon or Walmart or Costco or whoever it is that you do business with. Every trading partner does things a little bit different than the next. So Kroger, for example, here they require 4 to 6 EDI transactions. So they want an order out to their customer, to their suppliers. They want to receive an acknowledgement back. They want an invoice back and a shipping notice back. While 7-Eleven might only have 6. So looking at the differences between the two, or 5. So looking at the differences between the two, trading with every one of these partners is something that you as a supplier would have to understand and know if you're working through, let's say, a managed service or you just have the technology for EDI. If that's something you have today, this is familiar, where you're responsible with engaging with each of your trading partners, understanding what ways they set up their technology, and then how to trade with each of those trading partners. So Kroger, for example, requires an AS2 to communicate. 7-Eleven requires a VAN. Over the span of a year, we manage and migrate about 9,000 changes per year on behalf of our suppliers. So really owning those pieces and making that process seamless for our customers. But you as a supplier, if you're not set up with SPS, a lot of times different options in the market are requiring you to take ownership of those changes yourself. So as your business partners make changes, your system also is something that has to be adjusted and changed as well. So as these changes occur, it continues to compound within your own environment. So making these types of changes just require more additional work, labor, internal focus to be engaged to make sure to migrate and maintain these types of changes that happen every single year with every single trading partner. As you continue to add new trading partners, or let's say you expand into e-commerce, or you expand and you now add in a 3PL, these types of changes do continue to cause more time and effort from your teams to own. So what we see is that in order to be successful with an EDI environment, you really need to do 7 things well. One is going to be the technology. So working within your environment, technology that knows and understands either Sage, whatever Sage version you're running, or Acumatica, that's configured correctly and properly to your specific business rules and business environment and what types of products you sell. And then also the trading partner expertise. You would need to know and understand your trading partner's requirements, how they trade EDI, how they want to receive transactions back, what types of documents do they want to trade, and the types of channels that are within their way of trading their orders. And then communicating with them on any types of new changes that do happen. And then testing and launch, going into production with their teams, making sure that that's all ready before going into production. Then the ongoing support for types of changes and things that do, let's say, break, or things that do occur with any types of technology. Those types of things need to be supported ongoing, as well as the types of tools and reporting methods to be able to see what's happening with your business and reconciling with all your trading partners. So what we find is that most businesses, what they receive from an EDI provider typically is about half of what they really need to be able to be successful. So they get the technology, the hardware, all the rules, but really they're responsible with mapping that into the system, or getting that into the system and then communicating with all of their trading partners themselves. They might get some design and configuration into the system, so there's some workflows. But then, like I mentioned, the support and all the things that happen after getting a trading partner set up, engaging and coordinating is something that becomes more of a challenge that requires more labor internally to be responsible for. And then without reporting and visibility, it also becomes a challenge to know where and when things come up to be able to reconcile with your business partners. So with those types of scenarios, it leads to, I think that the main thing here is that it leads to a higher cost from an IT infrastructure, because it does require labor from a technology perspective. Resources internally that know and understand different ways that businesses trade and transact, as well as your own internal systems. Those things are required when left to managing yourself, as well as engaging and being flexible with trading partners quickly. When a trading partner makes a change, they're looking for continuity with your business without disruption. In a managed service, which is what most businesses are using today, this is where they're left with those types of I'd say, chargebacks or slower adjustments to change, as well as slower onboarding. So setting up a new trading partner can take additional time, because you're left with having to understand a whole big book of EDI requirements, and then how to set that up, and then how to engage and maintain ongoing. So really what businesses look for is a partner that can do everything, all the technology in one place. So you live within your Sage system, or you live within your Acumatica system to trade with your trading partners. And then the team of experts that really know your customers, that have proven successful with them, to be able to take ownership of all the pieces of EDI and engagement with your trading partners, engagement with your 3PLs, your e-commerce channels. So that way you can do business and just focus on selling more, focus on more strategic projects within the business. So that leads me into the SPS fulfillment. Our expertise really has leveraged our success in doing this. Of our 1,800 employees that we have, about half, a little less than half of them, are dedicated to just customer success. So while we provide you the technology that's embedded in the system that leads the market, we also provide you with a team of experts that know and understand your specific ERP. So these aren't people that don't know Acumatica or don't know Sage. These are people that live and breathe Sage every day, that live and breathe Acumatica, that will lead the implementation, that will take you through the process from the point of the project starting to the point of going live, to then supporting your business, and then minimizing any of the efforts that your teams need to do. They'll train you and they'll support your business ongoing. And then the unique piece is that we've got engagement directly with your customer base and experience that you can leverage as a business, that we've been doing for over 20 years with retail, e-commerce, and 3PLs alike. So a little bit about what makes SPS so special is you, or your greatest asset to the business if working with SPS, is this network effect. So we've got over 80,000 pre-map connections. That's businesses that have been built out over 20 years that we have experienced trading and setting up EDI transactions. We've got over 400 system partnerships. So let's say you've got specific businesses within Sage, or specific businesses within Acumatica that you've got set up, different pieces of technology. SPS can work cohesively with those different types of technology to make that work seamless, leaving you just working out of your environment versus going outside of your environment. We've got 3,000 buying organizations that are set up with SPS today. So that would be what you have access to. Let's say you plugged into SPS, you'd have access to those 3,000, let's say, retailers or buying organizations. Of those 3,000, we've got over 500 that are outsourced to SPS. Costco, for example, Grainger Fastenal if you're in the industrial space, Loblaws and Canadian Tire if you're out of Canada, and plenty of e-commerce businesses and big box retailers. All these businesses outsource their EDI to SPS Commerce. So you as a business, what that means for you is we eliminate the need to test. So we've got engagement teams working directly with them to work on behalf of these big box retailers, to call their suppliers, to set up EDI, and then certify all those connections. If you're working with SPS, that's something that we eliminate the need for you to have to do. We've got over 1,000 3PLs today, and that's growing significantly over COVID with the way that consumers are buying products now. So SPS Commerce has set up our model in a way that makes it easy to add 3PLs into the mix. Given that there's a new layer of communication with all of your trading partners, we've seen that grow significantly. So if there's, let's say, a 3PL you're looking to connect to, or a 3PL you're wanting to get introduced to, or you're wanting to find someone in our network, please reach out. We can engage with you and help you find someone that fits your products that you sell, fits the region that you're trying to sell to. And then also, this is one thing I think that's important to note, security certified. We have spent and invested many dollars into our certifications to ensure that all of our customers, suppliers, and buying corporations alike have the types of certifications they need in industry, and they're up to date no matter what. Something that I'm proud of, and I have a history and background in working with industries for the blind. So businesses that run Sage, for example, with SPS, we provide a solution that's, like I mentioned, embedded, but also compliant with non-sighted individuals. So to be able to trade and process transactions for anyone within your business, making it a lot easier. So looking here in the center, there's this box that says order data. So that I would say is the foundation of the house, which is our EDI solution. So everything we're talking about today and up to this point around EDI is how our business revolves. Outside of that, though, as businesses are evolving and companies are now transitioning to drop shipping, consumers are looking for more robust data. We have solutions that capture that data and provides your item assortment to your customers. You would be able to provide it in one format. SPS would take that, own that, and then communicate it out to all of your trading partners in whatever format they want. So SPS can then be able to provide all of your data and item information and manage that across all the different types of customers that you do business with. Along with that, we also have our analytics solution. So back in 2012, about 2 months after I started, we acquired a business. And since we acquired that business, it's an analytics business, we've been acquiring new businesses and growing that side of our business, where you can work with specific products, work by region, to be able to see what products are selling well. And there's multiple different types of products to be able to support your business. So you can start very, very general or get very, very granular specific based on the types of insights you're looking into or desiring to see across your product categories. And then let's say that you're working with a number of suppliers that you work with downstream. So issuing orders out to manufacturers or to suppliers, and you're doing that via email or fax today. We have what's called our supplier onboarding or our community team. Our community team is made up of about 30 to 40 individuals whose sole responsibility is just calling your suppliers. So if anyone on this call has had interaction with SPS before, it could typically have come from this solution where a retailer, a big box retailer, engages SPS to call all their suppliers on their behalf. That could be a solution we provide to you if you have a supplier base, to be able to help them set up EDI, and as long as they have an internet connection, they can be able to trade with your transactions you want to send out to them and receive back. So that's a big part of our business that's helped us grow to this point. So this I think, you know, as we think of how an environment might look today, setting up point-to-point maps for each and every single trading partner can become complex. So like that example that we went through with Kroger and 7-Eleven, each of those trading partners requires a different way to trade transactions. As you continue to add new trading partners, it becomes more complex, especially with the way that you need to manage that internally inside your own system. And then let's say you add a 3PL into the mix. Now, let's say if they're shipping for all of your customers, every single order is now multiplied because a different party is involved to touch that order and then to ensure that that's going out to your customers on your behalf. And you need to ensure that that's meeting the expectations of the customer as well as being set up and configured correctly within your environment. So what SPS does is we standardize and normalize all of those processes, no matter who you're doing business with. So really, all of the different types of transactions that are being set up, all the mapping, the translation, and the connectivity between you and your trading partnerships, and then also the specific ways that it's set up in your environment, SPS takes and owns and normalizes that across your customer base or supplier base to really give you one feed within your environment. So now you're just leveraging a connection to SPS Commerce. And it doesn't matter who you do business with. You can say yes to new business quickly and easily, and then transact that business out of your ERP or your system of record that you're running today. So from a user experience perspective, keeps you engaged inside your system, and then not engaged working with your trading partners to understand EDI. I'm not a technical person or a person that typically does demos, but what I wanted to do was give you some screenshots, just a snapshot of what this process looks like within your potential environment. Within Sage, for example, we have many documents that are currently built out that you can leverage, but I just wanted to start with 3, be really simple, just with regards to the types of requirements your trading partners might ask for. We can get the order in directly embedded inside of Sage and validate all that information directly inside the system. Then looking at your documents that go back out to your customers, the next one that typically is the one that's asked for is the shipping notice. So all the information from your order is then routed into that shipping notice, created to be able to automatically send back to your trading partners directly from Sage. SPS is doing all the heavy lifting of converting that into the format your trading partner requires, no matter who it is. And you can do not just one, but you can do as many as you need to at once. You can batch them all together. You can even leave this completely unattended. So orders coming in, as you likely after getting comfortable with the process, you can leave it unattended to a point where you don't have to go in and transact the documents independently or one by one. So sending out the shipping notice, then following that is the invoice. So you can create that invoice directly from the order that's sent and be able to do that directly from Sage, all with clicks and buttons, making that process a lot easier for you. The same thing here for Acumatica. So if you're a business that's running Acumatica or evaluating Acumatica, we've got 4 core documents that have capabilities for you as a seller. So if you're selling products to customers, they're purchasing those products and requiring EDI, you can get the order in automatically and fully embedded within Acumatica, and then you can automatically send back 855 purchase order acknowledgements as well. Same thing with those ASNs, so being able to send batch ASNs directly at one time directly from Acumatica, and then also the same thing with invoices. So all this can be done inside of Acumatica, and then on top of that, within your system, we build cross-references, ship via cross-references to accommodate for the different ways that you've set up your environment to trade and transact with your customers of record, and the rules that are needed to do that. Also, as I mentioned, we have the ability to send outbound orders, both from Sage and from Acumatica. So that way your suppliers, if you were desiring to set up your supplier base to transact EDI, you can issue orders directly from Sage or Acumatica and then receive invoices back, as well as we provide monitoring tools and details to be able to show you when they get the orders and acknowledge the orders. But these are the specific documents that are set up within Acumatica I wanted to highlight. On top of this, let's say you're a business that's new to EDI, you've never done this before. We have a solution called SPS Fulfillment, which sits outside of any system of record. But let's say that you are just getting your feet wet with big box retail and this is a new experience for you. You're not sure where things are going to go yet. This is a great solution to just test the waters because you can turn it on in I'd say as quick as 24 to 48 hours to say yes to that new business. And really all the process is human readable. So we convert all the technology, the ones and zeros of EDI into human readable formats for you as a business to be able to see orders coming in and then transact documents going back out. So you would live within this environment. There's some rules that are set up in there to be able to accommodate and provide some automation functionality within the system. But it's living outside of Sage and Acumatica. So I wanted to make sure to note that so that way your teams are aware. This doesn't live within Sage, it doesn't live within Acumatica, but it is a yes to EDI solution that gives you compliance quickly and easily, especially if you're not sure where the business might go. It's good for businesses that might get one order a month or one order a quarter, where they might not spend a lot of time doing any hand keying or data entry. That one order could only take, let's say, 15 minutes, and that's fine. Within this process, like I mentioned, there's some rules and functionality that's built in there to make this process faster. So you've got tiles that identify exactly where to go next. So you've got 3 new orders, for example, and it tells you exactly what to do. You click that box and it takes you right to those 3 orders, 14 documents that are ready to invoice, 11 for acknowledgement. So it guides you through the process. You don't have to understand or know what to do next. Very intuitive platform. A lot of businesses use it. And like I mentioned, about 20,000 of our 33,000 paid subscribers, a lot of them are fairly new to EDI, and this is the type of solution that works well for them. So while this is good for those types of businesses, it's also good for businesses that want a backup reporting tool. So you'll have a reporting tool within Sage and within Acumatica, but in the backup, you'll also be able to see your order information through this workflow as a secondary platform. And be able to reconcile any data if, let's say, a system goes down. You're able to still at least transact documents, as well as your reps out on the field are able to see what transactions have been flowing back and forth and confirm data. So very easy, very intuitive, makes the process simple for anyone to use. Don't need an IT resource to set it up. It's just an internet connection. Our teams would implement, set it up, train you all on how to do that. And like I mentioned, our teams are dedicated to the setup. We're not just going to wipe our hands clean once we set you up with EDI. We'll take you through the testing. We will own all the requirements, and then go through the testing with your trading partners, actually pick up the phone, call them, make sure that they've got their documents on your behalf, trade and test, and then move you into production. Once you're in production, that's where you would transition over to our support teams, who are specific to Sage, who are specific to Acumatica, to support you ongoing for different types of questions that come up. And then looking at your business, so what does this mean for you? SPS Commerce is providing you that team that leads the implementation, but also that team that works with your trading partners. So we have one-to-one relationships with your trading partners, a dedicated resource that works with Walmart.com or Walmart, with Amazon and our 4,000 suppliers that do business with us today. So we have one-to-one relationships with them and weekly status calls to ensure that we're working proactively on any types of changes that come up, or we can make changes to our supply chain down the pipe. And what makes us unique is we make that change once. That's done on behalf of all of our suppliers, where other EDI providers make that change and they have to go on one by one and do that for every supplier. So let's say that you also hire a new resource, or there's turnover within the business. We'll take ownership of training your resources, getting them up to speed on how to work through the processes that you have set up with us, set up within Sage, set up within Acumatica, so that way you don't have to be left on the hook with understanding how to train your resources that get brought on board. So in summary, like I mentioned, in order to do EDI well, you need to be successful in these 7 components. This is what SPS is providing you. We're providing you the pre-built technology that's set up and configured within your system. We're doing the testing and launching with all of your trading partner relationships, and you're gaining the experience of what we've got to date with all of your customers and what we've been doing with them for over 20 years. And then also full service support. So working proactively with you, and like I mentioned, that team that's having those weekly status calls, they'll understand when those map changes are needing to be done, making those changes on your behalf as part of the service we offer to you. And ultimately, this reduces any time that's being done from a technology perspective to be able to work with your trading partner communities, your 3PLs, your e-commerce platforms. SPS would be taking ownership of those pieces that you typically would be doing in an EDI environment. And then those tools that are there to provide you with both reporting within your system as well as backup reporting for anyone to see visibility and to reconcile. We'll actually pick up the phone and call your customers if they say they didn't get an invoice and show them exactly when an invoice was sent, the date it was sent, and do that on your behalf. So overall, the impact is that you'll have faster onboarding. Like I mentioned, with those 500 businesses that outsource to SPS, we can set you up faster than any other EDI provider. Reduce costs internally and time spent, scaling you for the future, being able to add new complexities to your environment like a 3PL, like e-commerce, like dropshipping to a brick and mortar process. Adding new types of requirements into your environment isn't going to be that much of a challenge anymore, as SPS is experienced in all these types of facets. Then quicker error resolution, reducing the chargebacks, and then your costs are fixed and known. We provide that all up front. So all of that, I really appreciate it, taking the time to meet with me today and understanding a little bit more about our approach to EDI, the types of challenges we're solving for. My contact information is below there. If you're interested or curious to understand more, feel free to reach out. I'm going to turn it back over to Jolene now. She did say that at the end here, we're going to open it up for questions. So we'll open it up and hopefully there's some questions I can help answer.
Thank you, Mike. We'll now open it up for questions. If you have any questions, please enter them into the questions section of your GoToWebinar, and we'll give that a minute in case any come through. And just a reminder, everyone, we do have a subject matter expert here. This is a great opportunity to have your questions answered in real time. And we do have a few that came through during the presentation. The first one is, how can I see a demonstration or get in touch for next steps?
Yeah, so in order to see a demo, my contact information is here. I'd say the next best step is to reach out to me. Jolene, I'll make sure that you've got this presentation to share with everybody, and I know you're recording it as well. Contact myself, and then I can schedule a demonstration with my resources. You'll have a specific dedicated account management team to help guide you through the process that are specific to your region. So they'll likely be working with your businesses in the area. They're a specific regional account territory manager. So we'll make sure that the whole team is involved to go through that demonstration, whether it's Sage or Acumatica.
The second is, as a supplier, what are my general roles and responsibilities?
Yeah, that's a good question. So really what we need is a business user, I would say, someone that can confirm data on their side, being able to engage with SPS to make sure that our teams, as we're working through the implementation and setting things up and configuring data, that your teams can confirm to say, yes, this is accurate, no, we need to make this adjustment. As well as when we do validation and testing, you can confirm that you're receiving transactions, for example. I'd say, yeah, business user on your end, a customer service rep, someone that can at least confirm data as we do work through the implementation and then supporting the business.
And we have another. Is the process different working with suppliers than it is with buyers?
Yeah, so that was part of where I touched on the community solution that we have. So where we provide the technology for either system that you're working with, whether Sage or Acumatica, how it's different in working with your supplier base is every supplier might not have EDI today. Each of those businesses might do things differently, just like you do different processes and different ways of setting up your environment than your competitors or the next business next to you. Suppliers, what we do is we provide, and we have kind of a messaging that works really well. There's ultimately like a philosophy behind it. So working with your supplier base, we have about an 85% onboarding rate in how we engage with them and working with your teams to be able to set them up. So if you have 20 to 50 or 100 or thousands of suppliers that you have, that when you get orders, You send orders out to them, and then they fulfill on your behalf, or they send back to you for you to fulfill out to the consumers. But you're doing that through email or fax today. Our teams take ownership to set them up on which would be our fulfillment solutions, or they can work in any types of solutions they want to select, but make sure to validate them with your environments. So that way you can trade and do business. So yeah, the supplier side is much more unique, and that's actually our butter. What makes SPS so special is how we can set up and how we can gain compliance with all those supplier that community that you do business with and make that cohesive.
And we have one more that came through. What does the implementation process look like?
Yep. So from day one, after what we do is a few days after our implementation team reaches out, we've got a named project manager that works with you. They have a business analyst that is and consultant that's aligned with them, and then a testing analyst. So the testing analyst works with the trading partners. The business analyst works within your system. The project manager runs charge of all of that. So our teams would go through a kickoff with your team, share with you what the next steps are, outline a project plan, and then work in tandem with, let's say, any ERP changes or ERP upgrades or things that are happening on your end to make sure they're working in tandem on any milestones that might be worked through. So as a first step, it's that kickoff. Following through with that, it's just going through and assigning the responsibilities, sharing what roles SPS is going to play, what sort of communication we'll need from you as a customer, and then working through any types of system or business changes you're making.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Mike, for your informative presentation and for taking the time to be here today.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, Jolene, and thank you, everyone. Hopefully this was helpful, insightful, and would love to be in touch with anybody that has more questions.
Wonderful. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Yeah, thanks, everyone.